Look at that. What a turn that was. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Big Thing. It's live. We are live every Monday. Myself and John Rocha, we do a live show here for you guys. You can find us on the podcast feed, but you can watch us live on YouTube every single Monday. And today there's a lot to talk about, man. As you saw in the thumbnail, GhostBusters Frozen Empire. It's the #1 movie of the weekend. And I'll be honest, I was shocked with how much discourse this movie had. And it wasn't just a lot of the critics predictable. That was predictable for me. The normal critics, I think they were just kind of like, nose up in the air of like, this is not the Ghostbusters that I know. And it's I don't know. It was silly, that side of it. But I was surprised at how many fans I saw that didn't enjoy it. I thought it was a blast. Is it messy? Yeah. It's a blast, though. I had a fun time with it, and I saw it with my 12-year-old who loved it. That is definitely going to sway me, but I had an overall good time with it. But we'll discuss it. I haven't really talked to John about it, about what his thoughts are, and John's always been very vocal on the critic side of it, like the critics going after other people if they don't like it. So I'm curious to see what he thinks about this whole stink fest. Not the movie, the idea that these people are doing what they're doing. The other side of it, what else is there? Oh, Jurassic World, the new one, Gareth Edwards one. Well, Jeff Snyder had broke a while ago that Scarlett Johansson was in talks. It looks like that's heating up, and it looks like she has an official offer. So once again, it looks like Snyder was correctamundo. There's a lot of other things that we get to talk about here today, guys. There's this zombie show that I didn't think I thought it was going to be one of the ones that got cut. It doesn't look like it. Looks like it's going to be a TV M14, whatever the hell the rating is. Speaking of Marvel and more adult type things, I guess Acolyte, which again, John and I haven't really talked about it, but there's a lot of talk about it. Some people thought it was going to be very volume heavy, and I had heard that it wasn't. I heard it's going to be practical. Apparently, Coruscant is going to be practical. I don't think we've ever had a practical Coruscant, at least. Well, what else? Dune. I hate to tell this to John, but I don't hate to tell this to John. I was right. It's not going to hit billion, but it is going to go between 750 and 850, which is great for that film. So that's so much to talk about already, guys. And then obviously we're going to take all your questions. And what we do is we ask you guys, and you already started piling in the super chats, and we do all of the topics. And at the end, we answer all your questions. So make sure throughout the show, anything you want to ask, and it could be obviously about TV, movies, whatever you want to talk about, you throw that in there. Speaking of TV, I also watched the first episode of Three Body Problem last night. So I don't know if John's seen that yet, but I'll talk about that as well. And that's it. So hit the button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. We are approaching 135,000. I think that's true. So make sure you check that out. If you haven't, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found, everybody. You guys rule. I can't wait to talk to you today. It's me. It's John Rocha. It's The Big Thing. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again to The Big Thing. Thanks for joining me here today. I am joined, as always, by my co-host on Mondays, John Rocha. What's up, John?
What's up, brother, man?
How was the weekend?
It was good. It was busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had some stuff we had to handle, and we handled it. The garage is nice and clean now. I had to sit down and do that. Finally bought some new shelving systems out of Home Depot and organized. So she now has her side of the garage, and I have my side of the garage. And there the twain shall meet, and we're very happy with that kind of separation. But yeah, and then watched a bunch of movies. I have not started Three Body Problem, so we'll talk about that I know eventually. But yeah, a good weekend overall, and enjoyed the tournament as well, the March Madness, which I still
good. There's a lot going on this weekend for sure. And I was talking about a lot going on. I mean, I guess we can jump in with the fact all these trailers that dropped, dude. Yeah. I was in New York. I left on Wednesday morning. I got in Wednesday night. I shot one video that I had to shoot for the other channel, and then all these trailers dropped. You had the Beetlejuice trailer dropped, the House of the Dragon, the Alien ones. I missed all of them. I tried to do a House of the Dragon trailer reaction yesterday. Ate a big pile of shit. Took it off the channel. And yeah, and then people are like, there's 2 trailers, and I was like, well, the first one ate a big pile of shit. I ain't putting a second up there. And I knew it, and I knew Beetlejuice was going to do well, and I really wanted to see it, and I did wind up watching it anyway, so I couldn't have done a reaction to it because it wouldn't have been authentic. So I was like, okay, but I knew that one would do well. But were you surprised at how many trailers dropped last week?
Yeah, it was really interesting. Just kind of a signal that we are. Did you enjoy January and February and the slow pace? We are. I mean, we are now like fully diving into the summer season. All this stuff is getting prepped. So it seems to me like the studios are already ready and they have a lot of content. And it's kind of front loaded though, isn't it, Kristian? Because this year, because of the strikes and all, there's not going to be that much. There's going to be some big movies coming, but it's not going to be that much. So I think they're trying to front load to get people excited about the stuff that is coming out. Yeah. So they're teasing it all so early in the process because Beetlejuice is not for like till September. So
October, right?
October. The fact that they're pushing it or already promoting it just lets me know the studios want to start getting in people's minds to start putting these signposts in the ground for their future.
Agreed, but it also means they have confidence in it.
Yeah, 100%.
If you put a trailer out that far in advance, it means they have, because it was a good trailer. It was a good little teaser. Yeah. And the beauty of it is that, like, even though, I mean, he was great in The Flash, Michael Keaton, but when he was in the jet and he had the Batman makeup on, you could tell this is a 68, 70-year-old man, however old he is. You can tell him playing Batman. Yeah. You can't tell him Beetlejuice. Too much makeup.
Yeah. Which I liked. And I like the juice is loose. I like the they didn't spend too much time with Jenna, just introduced her. Yeah. And then she clearly is the one that kind of opens the portal for Beetlejuice to come out. And Winona Ryder's face, just perfect. That mixture of horror and fascination that she's always had about Beetlejuice. So I think the trailer accomplished what it was supposed to accomplish. And of course, the death of Jeffrey Jones, which we're not ever going to bring back to the movie. So it makes sense on so many levels.
Made sense that they were gonna kill him. And then I would assume I think that Gina Davis will make a cameo.
You think so?
I think so. I don't think she had any falling out with Tim Burton. There's no world that Alec Baldwin makes a cameo, but I don't think so. Yeah. But I think that Gina Davis could make a cameo.
It seems like from the pictures they released that Justin Theroux is going to play like the Otto type character because that actor passed away a few years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that would make a lot of sense to bring him in as such. I mean, but it's kind of funny that we have a resurgence for Winona, a resurgence for Catherine O'Hara, and a resurgence for Michael Keaton all around the same time to bring, with Stranger Things for Winona, to bring them all back together to do this. And Burton too with Wednesday. Sure. So I think it's just so good to see that kind of stuff happen.
I think Wednesday is the best thing he's done in years.
100% agree.
And I think, and then having her with him on that, and then like you said, the resurgence of all these different actors in there in the land, because Keaton's been the last, I guess, since like Birdman and so you've got this legendary crew and a legendary film, and this movie, dude, has been in the works for at least 10 years, at least. So I mean, I remember I talked about it like the last time we spoke, but we wrote this story on schmoesknow.com when that was the thing, 10 years ago. Yeah. So I'm excited to see that one. It's on my most anticipated, but the other one's House of the Dragon, which I really like. That I didn't see the green trailer. I just watched the one. I don't need to now. So if I watched the first one, saw everybody doing the comments, then I noticed how bad it did on the channel. I was like, out you go. And then but I can't wait to see the actual show. It's one of my favorites. But did you dig it?
Oh, I loved both of the trailers, and I thought it was really smart because the season is going to be a Civil War season in essence. So you want to showcase the points of views from both sides because the fandom was split. Some people are on Hightower side, on the Targaryen side. So the fact that you've got a good fandom that is split between both, showcasing both in two different trailers to satisfy that section of the fandom, and of course the other side as well, I think was really smart. And the way they put it out looks like it's going to be a fucking crazy ass season, man. So I'm looking forward.
I can't wait. And I love that they focus in on just this family. Game of Thrones is great, and there was so many different things happening, but this is like one storyline, really. So I'm really digging what they did in the first season. Excited for season 2. The other one I didn't watch was the Alien one. Was it good?
Oh, the Romulus one? Yeah, that was really good. I liked it because it kind of feels like it's going back to the 1979 one, the one from Ridley Scott. And it's got like, you see the blood, you see the face huggers, and it's great to see this new blood involved in it with Kaylee Spaney and Isabella Merced. But just overall, the vibe of it was a lot darker than we've seen from anything from Ridley. So to me, this gets me excited. Plus, I like him as a director. So let's see what he's going to bring to the table.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that because I heard of the practical stuff, and it is this thing that we've just kind of beaten the drum on of going back to the old school style of filmmaking, lower budgets, make it what a lot of these movies that hit gold with like the Terminator, and then when they were able to get bigger budgets, even though the second one is beloved, then they just started falling into that trap of all this money, make more money, put more money into it, and it dilutes it, I think. So by doing this with Alien, if that's like I said, I haven't seen it yet, but going off of what you're saying, I think it's a smart plan. I think it's the way to go. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see it.
And it's set between the two, between Alien and Aliens.
Okay.
So you're still kind of, although they're saying it's an insular story, you can still argue there'll be shades of stuff that we've seen in the first Alien and shades of stuff we would see in the timeline in Aliens that'll probably make its way into this movie as a kind of a wink or a nod to the fans. And like I said, I trust Fetty. I think he's got the right point of view on this from the trailer.
Yeah. Me too. He just did the last Evil Dead one too, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty good. So his style worked. Again, they could have gone too much budget with it, and they didn't. They made it like it's inside of the freaking building the whole entire time, and they had the essence of like what a horror movie could be. So I thought that worked well. All right, let's get to the main topic here because I was so confused by all this past week. Ghostbusters 2, or I should say 4, inside of the canon itself, made a total of $45 million over the weekend, with Dune 2 coming in second, 17, overtakes Kung Fu Panda 4, which is at 16.8, Immaculate at 4, and then Arthur the King coming in at 5. But Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, I'm going to check right now. I want to see what it has on. I'm going to look at both the Rotten Tomatoes critic score, and then I'm going to look at the audience score. So from critics, 42%, audience 85. This was one of those things. I don't really get into it on Twitter, and I didn't at all watching this stuff, but I was getting ill watching some of these people, critics and people that we know, like people didn't even see the movie. Going like, it's bad. I talked to people and said it's bad, so it's bad. And anyone else that likes it, you're wrong. And it's like, what are you talking? You didn't even see it. What are you talking about? I'm like, the movie to me, I want to hear your thoughts on it because I haven't heard your thoughts yet on it. The movie to me, it had a lot of holes, it had a lot of issues, but it was fun, and it felt like an old school summer movie. And I thought that McKenna Grace is still as endearing as she was in the first one. There was some funny lines, there was some on the nose kind of nostalgia lines. But they played with it in the way that because in the trailer with Paul Rudd when he's singing the "Busted Makes Me Feel Good," I'm thankful that they didn't. There's a longer bit that's attached to it.
Yeah.
Which I thought he played with it so well. He played with it so fun. They play with the fact that it was so popular in the 80s. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the movie, and I didn't really understand how many people were going. I thought PJ Camp, I saw him tweet about it, which I agreed with him. It felt like an episode of the animated show.
Sure. Yeah.
And so what did you feel about the movie?
Yeah, I enjoyed the film for what it was. And I agree with you. There's narrative issues. I think it's got too many characters. I think it's slightly overlong, but I also think they understood where their strengths are, right? McKenna Grace, Paul Rudd, and Dan Aykroyd. That was their strengths, and respectively in each of them. And I think they worked that really well. I enjoyed the bit. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I enjoyed the bit with her friend that shows up. I really liked that for McKenna. That was a nice way to kind of flesh out a little bit more with her and her character, what was going on. I like the design of the villain. I thought a little Slender Man approach was a kind of interesting way to approach this thing. I saw a lot of people criticizing that, it all happens in a lot of it happens in the firehouse. And I'm like, yeah, because they're not going to spend a shit ton of money. They're going to keep it tight. They're going to keep it places, and they're going to make it work. And I liked it. And I like that Dan was a bigger part of this time around than the last Afterlife. And so to me, overall, I enjoyed the movie. Does it have faults? Yes. Does it have issues? Yes. But you could go wrong and with many other choices than this movie. You can go on a Saturday afternoon, as you said, with your daughter or with your family, and you'll enjoy the film. But if you're going like, I need this to be #, not my Ghostbusters, then I guess you might not like it. But
you're not. What are you going to get? You're not going to get this. We just mentioned Terminator.
Yeah.
You compare and again, I'm talking about canonically, and I know that there's 5 overall Ghostbusters, but 4 canon Ghostbusters, and you compare them to what how other movies and other franchises lost their way. This movie still keeps the essence of what the Ghostbusters
Yes.
is. I see people in the comments saying I liked Afterlife better, and I probably agree with you. I think Afterlife had a better emotional hook to me. Overall, I think that the understanding of not only the relationship between Egon and his daughter and the relationship with ultimately with his granddaughter, I think that they played that better. I thought that the relationship and the character build in Afterlife was significantly better. Yeah. But for a sequel and for a movie that's just like, I felt like I was in 1996 watching a movie in the summer. Like this would have come out in July in 1996.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
And it felt like that old school way of watching blockbusters, and it felt refreshing. It felt refreshing to see, even though it's a familiar IP. It just felt like, okay, it's not a superhero movie. It's not something I've seen a million times over. It's not the same beats. It's like, yeah, it was familiar, but it was fun, and it was something I could see with my daughter. And I looked at it, and she looked up at one point. She goes, "I love this movie," and I was like, "Great, that's exactly great." And so it was less about, and I understand people were like, oh, I had problems with the movie. I didn't think it was that great. I had no problem with that.
Yeah, sure.
But this thing on Twitter, man, and like, I couldn't tell all these people saying how like this going after, and this wasn't just the fan stuff, the normal kind of fan hatred stuff in the way you saw with, I guess, like the Acolyte and stuff that came out. These are critics. And I was like, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Get over yourself. It was so boring. It was so boring.
This is the kind of stuff that I agree with you, Steve, Kristian. It's so boring. And this is the kind of stuff that gets frustrating because this is what leads to this battle between critics and fans, right? That there are those critics who seem to relish destroying a movie and seem to dial into.
They're only going to get retweeted.
Yeah. They're trying to get engagement, trying to get paid off of Twitter and what have you. And so they're the kind of people that do this kinds of things. And it does get frustrating. Like I saw people putting this in the same category with Madam Web. And I'm like, you're out of your fucking minds. Like, it's not even remotely close.
What?
Madam Web. Yeah, I saw someone put like 3 worst films of the last 10 years. And I was like, what is wrong with you motherfuckers? We used to be able to go to a film and enjoy it and just enjoy it. And if you're going to the film with this whole, like, this better be an A24 type level then you're completely in the wrong movie. You're the wrong mindset of it all. I get if you didn't like it. I get if you didn't enjoy some of the humor, or like I said, it was overstuffed. Or as Kristian and I said, some of the narrative stuff didn't work for you. Because in the middle, it does get a bit muddled. But overall, it's just a fun film trying to entertain you.
Right.
And I think when you're judging it from that perspective, I don't understand the vitriol.
Somebody mistakenly, again, wrongly in the comment section, it sounds like you guys are just mad they don't have the same opinions on. Wrong. Exactly. No. That's the exact opposite of what we're saying. What we're saying is that it's that because if people don't like a movie, that's your opinion. And I saw people in here going, I didn't really like it too much. I gave it 6 out of 10. Okay. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was a great movie. It's the definitive, because you like it, you're watching film wrong opinion. That's the thing that you should be upset with too, because because in the same way that if you're like, well, I didn't like it, I thought it was a 4 out of 10. Well, you're wrong, because it's a good movie. That's the wrong opinion. So I don't know what maybe you might have commented on the wrong video. So you should check your browser. You might have, sometimes that happens. You might have commented on the wrong video. But it's when someone definitively either saying I liked it, and because you don't like it, you're wrong. It's fun. You should like it. No, what we're saying is, don't tell me that because I like it, that I'm wrong. And that's what a lot of these critics were doing, in the way that they were insinuating that if you like it, then you don't watch film the right way, and you didn't understand the essence of the 1984 movie. It's like, get over yourself.
Some critics can't separate their fandom from analysis, and it gets frustrating when you see that sometimes. It's like, because they're like, well, this didn't meet what I grew up loving and blah blah blah. Right. But I saw so many people taking pictures of like fathers and daughters and mothers all dressed up, and sons all dressed up in their Ghostbusters gear, going to see the movies. Like, that is what it's all about. And I think sometimes critics, and because everyone now, I mean, Letterboxd has made everybody a critic, so now everybody thinks that they can just chime in with this without the proper amount of training of analysis and understanding the separation between fandom and your analysis. And there's a way to do it without sounding like you want to destroy and set the film afire.
100%.
That's the extra bullshit that I think Christian and I are pissed off with that.
Yeah, and it's like because this overall this movie has like an 85% from the fans, so fans are enjoying it. So it's more so, like I said, it was the discourse that was going on with the. It's like you can't complain about when you're a critic about people saying certain they don't take us serious, they don't do this, they do this. When you put your nose up in the air, it's like I always say, look, I'm very aware there are people who are probably going to hate this movie and not like this movie, and that's fine. Just don't tell me that because myself and my daughter liked it that we're wrong and we don't understand film. It's like I don't watch film with your eyes. I watch them through mine. Watch them through my daughter's eyes. I can watch her watching them and I go, oh, that's how I felt as a kid. Yeah. And that's the type of stuff it just drives me nuts on, like when you see this stuff of just like, well, I saw somebody who saw it and they didn't like it, so that's probably I'm not going to like it then. It's like, that's how you judge movies? It's like, what do you okay. I mean, why am I going to listen to you then? Yeah. Because it's like, because you wanted to dislike it, or you think that it's because, it's the system and the system's making another sequel, so the system is bad, so now I have to tweet out because I am against and I buck against the system, and it's just so boring. It's just so boring. Anyway, what do you guys think overall? I see a lot of people putting in those super chats for Ghostbusters, so we will get to it. I promise you that. No problem at all. All the questions that are coming in, if you're brand new, is your first time here on the live stream, what we do is we go through all the main topics, and at the end of all the main topics, we come back and we answer all your questions throughout the show. So make sure you throw those in there. And before we move on to our next topic, I'm very excited to tell you guys both about AG1, which I talk to you about all the time. Love AG1. People just said to me, someone got it over the weekend, said that they got it for their mom. And it was like, I got my mom some AG1 over the weekends, and I could please, because I always tell people, and this is the great thing, I tell people that when you get these things, to let me know. And then people DM me, they put comments on there, and I always respond to it because I'm always curious. And so someone just got AG1, but I'll tell you about AG1 and Rocket Money, which I use religiously. So here you go. Here's both right now. All right, guys, let's talk about AG1. You guys know I love AG1. If you've been listening to my show, you've heard me talk about them, and I've been drinking them for about 2 years now, and I love it. Never been a vitamins guy. I've told you that. I take it all one shot, AG1. I put it in a water bottle. I shake it up. I'm good to go. I recommend AG1 to my friends. I recommend AG1 to my family. Everybody. AG1 is a team of doctors and scientists. It is tested for 950 contaminants and NSF certified for sport. It is formulated based on the latest science and maintains high quality standards. You guys know they've been with us for a while because you guys know too. You've all been checking them out, and everybody who's been signing up to AG1 says the same thing. It's changed your energy. It's changed how you approach things in the day. You're smiling more. You're running around the place, and you're sleeping better. I know. AG1 is the supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why they've been a partner for so long. If you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and you get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/big thing. Drinkag1.com/big thing. Check it out. Hey, Rocket Money. How much do you guys think that you're paying a month on subscriptions? Yeah, that's what I thought. Most people think they're $80, $82. Yeah, right. You're paying closer to around $200. And that is why I use Rocket Money. What is Rocket Money, Kristian? Thank you for asking. I'm going to tell you, me. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending, and it helps you lower your bills. And it's all in one place. It has over 5 million users and counting. Rocket Money has helped save its customers an average of $720 a year and $1 billion in total savings so far. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way. Go to rocketmoney.com/thing. That's rocketmoney.com/thing. rocketmoney.com/thing. This is actually rocketmoney.com/big thing. rocketmoney.com/big thing. Stupid me. So make sure the actual link is in the description. And you can go there. You should use that code, rocketmoney.com/big thing. I love Rocket Money. Use it all the time. John, yeah sometimes I I do it when I'm in the morning. I want to make sure that we're ready, and I forgot. And how do you forget the big thing?
Hey,
So
correct.
Rocket,
That's all
yeah,
that matters.
I corrected. Rocket Money is the best. It really
Yeah.
is. Yeah, use that and then AG1. So if people want to use either one, go. The link is in the description. Make sure that you go there. I always pin the sponsors to the top comment. Okay, so I saw this run this in the comments, so we can go with this one next. Where the hell is it? It is somewhere. I can't find it, so maybe I was lying. Oh no, there it is. Okay,
Roadhouse.
yeah. The remake, Doug Liman and Jake Gyllenhaal, Conor McGregor. Do you know the actress's name?
Yeah, Daniela Melchior. She's in the Suicide Squad, the rat girl with
Okay.
that's
Okay.
who she is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So and so this was the remake that everybody was buzzing about, based off the classic 1980s Patrick Swayze film. So when this trailer came out, it looked fun, right? It looked fun. This movie was fine. It is fine. It was messy. It was fine, but it had my brother broke my heart yesterday because he wrote me and he's just like, I watched the original and he's like, the original is 4 out of 10. I go, you're a crazy person. But it's a 1980s. If you watch it now, and it's such an 80s film, and of course it's ridiculous. The original, it's like every bouncer knows about. Well, it's Wade Garrett from like 3,500 miles away, and they know who he is. It's from like they're professional athletes. But that was the fun of it, right? I thought they took different spin on it. Gyllenhaal was fantastic.
Yeah,
great. I like the kind of different spin that they gave to Dalton, but there's just a couple things that they did that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? And then I guess for it's, if you don't know the Roadhouse story, then this might be a little bit of a spoiler, so you might want to jump off for a second, because I gotta talk about this real quick. So I'm just giving a fair warning. If you haven't seen any of the Roadhouses, it's the same thing. So you've been warned.
I think you'll be fine, but go ahead. Yeah.
I just like to warn people just in case. That's like, so in the original movie, he's haunted by the fact that he ripped the guy's throat out and he killed somebody. And there's a reason why, because Sam Elliott tells him, he goes, that woman didn't tell you she had a boyfriend, and then that guy pulled a gun on you. So when someone pulls a gun, F you. And then the second guy, he rips his throat out, he had a gun. And then because of it, Dalton's got to go on this spree and go kill people. Jake Gyllenhaal just becomes a serial killer in this movie. Like he first of all, he kills his friend in the ring for why we don't even know. We still don't know why he killed his friend in the ring. Yeah. And it wasn't because of anything except he just got mad at him. And then he just starts literally murdering people. And I think like knocking police officers out and all this. It was a brutal movie for sure. And Conor McGregor is a cartoon in this film.
Oh my God.
Full cartoon. Yeah. So what did you think of the movie?
Yeah, the other guy didn't tell you he had a boyfriend. Here's what I say. I thought the movie was a great Saturday afternoon, I'm cleaning the house movie, in that it's just on. You're not going to miss anything if you step out of the room. Yeah. It's a very clear film. This guy gets hired by this woman to work at a roadhouse. You don't know anything about this woman. You don't know her backstory. And guess what? You never will find out her backstory. And then you see the situation with him. And yes, we finally get the flashback when he's confronted by, I forget the actor's name, when he's confronted by the main villain.
And Billy Magnuson?
Billy Magnuson, yeah. And so you find it's like, okay, so what was the reason? I just got angry in the ring. So this guy should be in jail, like legitimately in a padded cell.
Not a good guy.
He should not be outside. So this is the most unusual protagonist to put in a film like this. And he's either suicidal or he wants to kill everybody around him.
Right.
So there's a funny opening fight scene that I think works really well. Yeah. But then he gets more and more like brutal and vicious and violent. And so if you've got a character, you got to top it. How do you top it? You bring in a cartoon maniac like Conor McGregor, who I think understood the fucking assignment and had a blast with this thing. And their final fight was fine. But yeah, you're right, dude. It is absolutely a narrative mess. There's no reason to have a black bookshop owner with a black daughter. That's all just to get you sympathy. And so it just was a little paint by numbers, but I enjoyed Jake and I did like Conor for what he was doing. And I liked the final fight. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Well, in the original, he gets set off and there's no Wade Garrett. Wade
Right.
Garrett was like a mentor, and like that whole thing. There was no Wade Garrett, and I was like, or someone like Wade Garrett? And I was like, the whole point of the guy who was kind of mentoring him is once he dies, then when Swayze snaps, you're like, I get it, I understand why he snapped. He's like, he's got to pull that scene when he pulls the blade out of Wade Garrett, and he's just like, because he knows he's dead, and like the pain that's coming through him. And this, like, you burnt down the bookstore, I'm gonna crack your neck and shoot you. And it's like, whoa, this guy's a lunatic.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I see someone in the comment section saying, you don't go to jail for killing somebody. We all fucking know that. What I'm saying is the fact that he is an absolute maniac who will murder at a moment's notice is why he should be in jail.
Everybody's just murdering everyone. And it's like, and so I totally understand why this movie was not theatrical, by the way.
Yeah. I don't know what Doug Liman was talking about.
This is a movie that you find on streaming. Not that it was a bad movie. I had fun. My daughter was she wanted to watch it because there was someone that she saw in it, but I wound up watching it with my wife, and we watched it, and she had seen the original recently, and she loved the original. She loves those 80 movies. And then when she saw the trailer for the new one, she's like, this looks terrible. But then we were watching it, and she's like, oh, it's not that bad. And it's not that bad. It's a streaming movie. It is an absolute streaming movie. I saw people tweeting out about it, like saying, that this should have absolutely been theatrical. If you wanted it to lose money and you wanted people, this movie would have not done well in the theaters.
A $60 million film like this would not have made $60 million in the theaters.
No chance. No chance. It would have been a terrible. I mean, maybe you want to make up some of your money, but the money you're going to spend in marketing alone on it. But they spent some marketing, I guess. I don't know. Maybe there might be an argument to it to make some money back. Right. But this is like people going, this should have been a theatrical release. I think there's other streaming movies that were. I didn't like the Millie Bobby Brown movie, right?
Oh, yeah, it was okay.
I didn't like that movie, but that has just as much of an argument of being a theatrical movie as this.
Sure, for the spectacular nature of it all, yeah, and her,
right? So, and I think that movie should have been a streaming movie, as it was. It should have stayed a streaming movie. But I saw people again. I saw people over the weekend going, "I don't understand. This is absolutely a movie that should have been a theatrical movie." 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yes. 100%. 20 years ago.
Before streaming, though, too, it's like this. You have to understand business wise, people are not. When I say this, there are certainly people that would have bought a ticket to do it. But when you're trying to make a profit, that's not a movie to me that I think would have made a lot of money.
Of course. Like, to me, The Killer should have been a theatrical release. The one that was on Netflix.
How much did it cost, though? The David Fincher one?
Yeah, right? It wasn't that much. I think it was like 30 million. That's it.
Yeah, maybe, but it still wouldn't have done that well, though. People don't go to the movies for that type of stuff anymore.
That's fair. Unless it's John Wick, they don't really go for those things. So
yeah, well, right. I mean, look, the Monkey Man, I'm curious about.
Yeah,
Monkey Man does.
I think I see that this week or next week. But 60 million. Listen, remember, people, like, you cannot say this film should have been theatrical when the film you're getting was the $80 million movie. We don't know what the $60 million movie would have looked like, where the shortcuts would have been, how much shorter. It probably would have been an hour and a half instead of 2 hours. This film had no business being 2 hours, by the way.
Wait a minute. I got to highlight this. This is a joke, right? We just explained this. This has to be a joke. Why are Kristian and John allowed to show the movies they don't like, but nobody's allowed to show? No one said that. No one said that.
And we're not shitting on it. We're saying it's a good movie. Or a watchable movie. Yeah.
Okay, listen. I'm going to tell you this because you're not listening. I tried to tell you one time, and you wrote the same thing. And I feel like you're doing it as a joke now. So I must tell you again. It is not a matter of whether or not you like the same movie or don't like it. And if I like it and I tell you I do not like this movie, I think some of this is crazy, I think cartoons were running around and fighting and bad stuff was happening, but then you liked it, and I said you were wrong for liking it, then I am wrong for doing that. I did not say that. If you said you like the Roadhouse, then they're good for you. I'm telling you there are problems there, and you're not listening. So stop typing. You're typing it wrongly because you're not listening. You have a thought in your head, and it just comes out. Stop it. It's like, not listening. We just went over this. Like, you're allowed to say whatever you can shit on any movie you want. It's when you tell someone else that they're wrong for liking the movie. Though, if someone says, I thought that this movie, the new Roadhouse, was a masterpiece, I don't agree with you, but I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
Right.
That's the difference. That's what we're talking about. So I feel that person was, I think that they were messing with it. I don't think they were serious. I don't think they were serious. I think they were kidding
Just
around.
want that attention. Just want
No, but I think Joel, you were joking, right? Yeah, I think he was kidding. I really do think he was kidding. I think he was messing because we did it before, and I think he was just messing with us. So I'm gonna give Joel the benefit of the doubt that he was just busting balls.
You're a good guy.
You don't? You think he was
I
serious?
never give them the benefit of the doubt. That's part of my problem.
I don't think he was serious. I think he was taking a piss. I think he was just kidding around.
I hope
So Joe, let us know, because because there's no way if you listen, maybe you didn't listen to the beginning of the conversation that we had before, and maybe that's why. So maybe that's what.
Maybe you didn't listen closely enough.
It's hilarious. That was hilarious. Okay. So, but what I was gonna say with that movie though, Roadhouse. I think that Roadhouse was entertaining for streaming overall. Sure. Gyllenhaal is a movie star. There's no doubt about it. He's got that charisma. I didn't think their relationship worked though. Him and the girl.
No, because it was kind of thrown in there.
Yeah,
and there was no real chemistry between them. And she's supposed to be this badass woman, but you get no scenes without her by herself. Without Jake by herself doing her thing, and we don't get to know her at all. Right. So there's no depth to the character, and then she's connected to this guy who's I'm like, oh, come on.
In the same way, look, and we'll probably hold the original tighter to our vest, because it was an 80s movie, and it's silly. That movie's silly,
but it's not trying to be better than what it is.
Right. It's just, and I did like that it took swings and went a different direction with it, so there's a lot that it did right. There's just a lot that to me it did wrong. So anyway,
I saw real quick, man. I saw a great question from Kevin McCarthy, who does great stuff on the junkets. And he asked Jake, since you're doing a Patrick Swayze film, what film would you love to see Patrick Swayze do of yours? And I thought that was a fucking great question.
Yeah, it was great. What did he say?
Where would Swayze fit in? Or Nightcrawler is one of the ones they brought up.
Yeah,
it would be a great change of pace to show Swayze was a really good actor.
Yeah,
to see him play the character like that. I thought that was a genius answer.
It's funny you said when it comes to Nightcrawler, because I thought there was a couple times that his Dalton fell into the Nightcrawler in this. He's a serial killer. He's a crazy person in this movie.
At the bar with Magnuson, when he gives him that look,
yeah,
I was like, this person deserves to be in jail.
Yeah, for sure.
So Jake, someone's got to write a great villain role. Fuck that Mysterio shit. Write an actual real villain role for Jake Gyllenhaal to play, and I think he would kill it, man.
Wouldn't you say that Nightcrawler was that villain?
Of course. Yeah. Let's go to the MCU.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Next one we can go to here. Let's do this one, because this one's everywhere right now. And Scarlett Johansson now. Speaking of Marvel, she is now heavily rumored, or now it's she's in talks. It's because we had the rumor from your partner in crime, Jeff Snyder. And now from Deadline, Scarlett Johansson is in talks for Gareth Edwards' Jurassic World movie at Universal. Two-time Oscar nominee Scarlett Johansson is in talks to join Gareth Edwards' directed Jurassic World reboot at Universal. This has been out there for some time, but it's looking solid now. This puts Johansson in business with another major movie franchise following her Black Widow days at Marvel, which resulted in the star suing Disney over the 2021 pandemic release of that movie, which the studio opted to go day and date on Disney Plus, thus siphoning box office gross as the two sides ultimately settled. Universal is assembling the project quickly for a July 2nd, 2025 release. David Koepp, who adapted the first Jurassic Park from Michael Crichton's classic novel, is penning the latest iteration of Jurassic World. The new movie is a fresh take on a Jurassic era, with Jurassic World cast members Bryce Dallas Howard, Chris Pratt not expected to return, nor the original trilogy's thespians Goldblum, Dern, and Sam Neill. Jurassic World will be produced by Spielberg through Amblin, yada, yada, yada. Jurassic Park franchise is more than 30 years old and has grossed $1.67 billion at the global box. 1.67 billion, is that true? That's more than that, right?
Wow, I think.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Jurassic Park franchise 1.6. Didn't the last one alone do?
That's a mistake.
That's got to be a mistake.
Last one was over 1 billion.
Last one, the whole franchise. That's not accurate. 1.67 billion. The last movie alone did like 1 point something. The Spielberg directed 93 was followed by okay, who cares? So this movie overall is a good choice, good director. Very curious to see. This goes back to what you were talking about with Alien, right? How big are they going to? It's Jurassic World, and obviously they're going to put money into it. But I hope that they do it smaller, And I
Yeah.
hope that you got your movie star and Scarlett Johansson. I love that nobody else is coming back. Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, they've done their thing. Same with everybody else.
Yeah.
The world has been overtaken by dinosaurs now. How are new people dealing with it? Right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's start a whole new thing. Let's start, in the same way that like apes did it. Let's do a whole brand new thing. And if this can work, this is my hopefulness with like Terminator. If they can do something like this and make it work, if this movie isn't good, it's easy for me to say stop it because I'm just over it if it's not good anymore and they can't crack the code. But these things still make money hand over fist every time they come out. So I don't know. How do you feel about this casting?
I like this. I when Jeff talked about it on the show, of course, he broke it on his newsletter, and then we talked about it on the Hot Mic, which I hope you all are subscribed to, the Hot Mic or on the podcast feed or on my channel. But like Jeff, I told Jeff, like, I thought this was a great idea because the thing is, Scarlett likes to do the independent movies, likes to make clear that she is an actress first and foremost. People forget how she started out and then got into the Marvel machine. But after a while, it's like, okay, I've still got to maintain my status in the larger blockbuster scope of things. So this is a great way to do that. And Scarlett is such a confident, strong actress now. Leading something like this, I think, is a great challenge for her. And I agree with you. Getting rid of everybody else. Don't bring back the old cast either. Just chart a whole new course. Because as much as those movies made, and the last one made $1 billion, they weren't critically liked. And look, the overall franchise, I looked it up, has made over $6 billion. So shout out to them. They clearly have a moneymaker here consistently, no matter the quality of the films. So now you go with Scarlett, and I think this is a great way forward. It's a new approach to things, a new character. And I like what she's going to bring to it. So I think it's a smart move. And people like her. So I think people are going to go see this film because of her. And that's an important part if you're rebooting this thing.
I'll push back on that a little bit.
What's that?
I don't think that they'll go and see it because of her. I think they'll see it because of dinosaurs. But they'll also go, well, who else is in it? Scarlett Johansson. Oh, I like her. Well, that'd be great to watch. That's the whole point. Is that
they'll feel more comfortable going because she's
because she's in it. Because she's in it. It's like, okay, well, we like her.
Yeah.
But the dinosaurs is what's selling that movie. That's the whole point. You can put. I mean, you don't need if you don't have her in here and you had somebody else in that was likable, you'd still do good because it's dinosaurs if you do it right. But you got to tell the story. You can't just rely on the dinosaurs. You can't just rely on the movie star. You got to make it as magical and kind of compelling. There's a lot of stories to tell. You don't go back to a park. Don't do another park. Don't do stuff that's been over. Don't do it like in the same way that Star Wars like relied on another Death Star. Don't do that shit. Make it the fact you've built up your lore. There are dinosaurs running around the world now.
Yeah.
So how are people dealing with that? How is this woman dealing with that? Who is this woman? Teach me about her. Teach me about how she's dealing with it, and give me that more of that like horror feel that was in the original book. Do that. And let's change it up. Like Fast and Furious. Say what you want about it. The reason why that franchise was so successful was the tone shift from like 4 on.
Yeah, 5 is the beginning of the change. Absolutely right. Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
No, please finish.
I was just going to say, like, I think people can get mad at me if they want. This is a better actress than Bryce Dallas Howard or Chris Pratt, and so you go forward with someone like this. Laura Dern, fantastic actress, not really a blockbuster mainstream actress, but Scarlett is. Julianne Moore, great actress, not really a blockbuster mainstream actress. What you found in Scarlett to lead your franchise going forward in this reboot is you've got someone who is a blockbuster mainstream actress and is a good independent film actress as well. So you're covering both sides. So whatever story you want to tell, and remember, this script's already been written. They're bringing her in to slide in. This isn't her beginning of the process and all of this stuff. It's already been written. They've already worked it out. They've got the director. He's going to, I think it's Gareth Edwards. He's going to do it.
Yep.
And then she's coming in to be a part of it. So boom, you've lined it all up. And I think this is the way to go. And you trust her that she can come in and just hit the ground running. So it's smart on all kinds of levels to get her.
And I know you didn't like the creator, but I like what he did with that movie, the way he made that movie feel with the budget that he had. And that movie, felt like it was $250 million. It cost like $80 million to make. So he can do some really, he can take and make these things scary, right? He can do like make it a little bit more of like serious science fiction as opposed to like the watered down cotton candy Jurassic World where we got in the last like couple of movies. It's let's make it, try to put some legitimacy back to the franchise as well. And I think what you're saying about putting someone in like a Scarlett Johansson who can do who's a really good actress, plus the fact she can do the blockbuster stuff. You got Gareth Edwards who has, and he has action, but he knows how to make compelling sci-fi. So this has potential. Yeah. The only thing that scares me is I know a script's done, but a little over a year from now, that's fast.
That's a tight turnaround. You're not wrong. Turnaround. But if they follow your blueprint you've been talking about for many weeks on our show here, Kristian, on the show, is that you saying that you want things to go smaller, you want things. Yeah. So it may be that they're going with a smaller approach to this, which is why they think they can make the turnaround as quickly as they can, because they're not going with a wide global story like they told in the last one. And so it could really work. This has the potential, I'm going to say this now, this has the potential to be the best film in the Jurassic Park franchise this side of the original. This has the potential.
And the other thing that I'll push back against with a little bit is that I do, because I think you and I are on different pages with Bryce Dallas Howard, because I think Bryce Dallas Howard's a pretty damn good actress as far as dramatically.
I she wasn't good. I said ScarJo was better. That's all I said.
I think dramatic acting, I would probably dramatic acting, I would actually give Bryce Dallas Howard the nod over Scarlett Johansson. Not big blockbuster movies, and when you're going to do action as compared to what in Argyle, there's no comparison. Scarlett Johansson is your action star compared to Bryce Dallas Howard. But from The Help and other movies too, I think Bryce Dallas Howard is a little bit better of an actress dramatically. But that doesn't mean that Scarlett Johansson don't have the chops. She got the chops, and I think she's a better choice for this franchise than Bryce Dallas Howard is.
Fair point. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one.
Yep. Okay. Let's talk about this because, John, I don't like to say I'm right.
Since when?
But I'm right. This was a movie that it's my number one most anticipated movie. And when when John said this movie was going to make $1 billion, I said, I hope you're right, but there's no chance. And it looks like this movie's going to close out. They said prediction wise between right now it's currently at 574. They're saying from its run, it looks like it's going to cross between 700 to 750 or something, which is a great number. It's a great number. The movie is a massive success, the biggest movie of the year thus far. And the fact that it came out in March, it's a 3-hour movie. This is a major accomplishment. And I can't wait for the franchise to continue on through series and then Messiah and all these things. But you're lucky that we didn't. You want to go back? Do you want to go back and say that we did make a steak dinner on this bet?
I think those tapes have been lost.
Oh, I think
I don't know where the audio is.
Yeah. Because that wasn't audio, that was text. So, it looks like I'm gonna have a steak dinner. I go, we never bet on Dune, John. Like, yes, we did. I said, no, you're lucky that we didn't.
Oh, we did.
You're lucky that we didn't.
I'm getting older, things flying it out of my brain.
Fair. I can't even tell you over the last week. I've asked my wife who the same person was 8 times. She's like, I just told you this yesterday. I was like, I don't remember who that person is. Anyway, so what this? But I'm not wrong here, right? This movie, this is still major accomplishment.
No, I think so too. I mean, for how people reacted to the first movie, the fact that this one came out and was able to get people to come back and watch it, and because of the criticism, the positive reviews, all the response to it all, it's been wonderful to see. And it just shows you people are willing to go and give a film a second chance, or a franchise a second chance, if the reviews are great. So many people want to say critics don't matter. They still fucking matter. They do matter. And if overall critics and audiences are both saying a film is great, more people are going to give it a chance. And when they give it a chance, those people are going to come back and watch it over and over again. And that's what's going to lead to the money. And I think a dense, challenging science fiction movie with two up-and-coming stars in Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet, to be able to sell it to this level, and the length of these movies to be able to sell it at this level. I see so many people going, why are movies so long? When they earn their length, people will go because they want to enjoy themselves and they want to be taken and transported someplace else. And this film works, and clearly it holds up to multiple rewatches, which is why it made as much as it did. And you're right. I mean, to be honest with you, $1 billion would have been great, but maybe $1 billion was asking too much for a sci-fi
3 hours.
sand-based epic in another fucking galaxy. But I had hopes for this one as well. So
It's
but
but
great.
that $1 billion dart,
Yeah.
it's hard to hit the bullseye. It's
It is.
hard. It's not.
Oh, COVID. Yeah.
We were in a very different place when there were movies that were hitting it every single time.
You're right. You're right.
Streaming wasn't even that much of it. It was Netflix was like the only streaming game in town when all those movies were making $1 billion every other week.
Yeah.
Like that. It's like the last. I think there was 2 that hit last year. 2. It was Barbie and Oppenheimer got close, but which is crazy. Which I understood your argument because that's like there was such an anomaly there when you're looking like, well, wait, Oppenheimer made almost $1 billion. Dune's going to do it, and it's like it's Nolan. Speaking of which, I just watched The Prestige again on the plane,
Dude.
I forgot how great that movie was.
Arguably his greatest film. A lot of people think it's his greatest film.
It's a great movie. I had anytime it came up in conversation about Nolan's greatest, I never talk about that movie because I saw it once, and I watched 2 Nolan movies and I watched 2 Guy Ritchie movies. I watched and I'll talk on I do a segment on Patreon where I do what I am watching for everything I covered over the last month, and I watched The Gentleman, and I watched The Covenant. Speaking of Jake Gyllenhaal. And then I watched that was on the way there, and then I watched a little Memento, and then I was already in New York. So I finished Memento when I was, and then I watched The Prestige.
Yeah.
And man, The Prestige is awesome. It's so good.
Guess who's in that? Because it isn't Bryce Dallas Howard. It's Scarlett Johansson.
It's true. Her accent's not the best though in the movie.
How dare you?
It's not the best.
I know.
It's fine. It's not the best. She's good in the movie, but that movie is underrated. I think
you told me you like The Covenant. You texted me that you like The Covenant. Anybody who's watching who hasn't seen it, please see it.
Yeah, I really like The Covenant. I thought that was a really solid movie, and I think because I had just watched The Covenant and then I watched Roadhouse, like it just also just cemented how much I really enjoy Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor.
Yeah.
He's pretty versatile, man. He could do a lot of different things, and he's likable. And even when he's a lunatic, he's likable. He's not a lunatic in The Covenant, but he has some rage moments.
Yeah,
in that. I thought it was a great movie. Anyway, all right. So I'm trying to think. There's one more thing that I wanted to talk. Oh yes, this Acolyte thing. Let me talk about this Acolyte thing. Where is it? It's Coruscant. I read this thing about Coruscant that's coming up, and apparently in the Acolyte, it's going to be practical, and I don't think there's been a practical Coruscant thus far. Maybe a couple buildings or something in when they did. I don't know. It wasn't Andor. It was Ahsoka, but I even think that was on the set. Previously, Star Wars: The Acolyte showrunner Leslie Headland spoke about how the upcoming High Republic set series didn't make use of the volume technology at all in its creation. It's a far cry from many of the other Star Wars shows on the air, from The Mandalorian to Ahsoka to Kenobi, which all make extensive use of the tech, though Andor barely touched it, instead opting for real-world location filming. As this takes place decades before the prequels, however, the series has to show an opulent and decadent society, one which is blindly and blissfully unaware of the dark times to come for subsequent generations. Now, in an interview with IGN, Headland says the use of practical sets extended to a location rarely done without major CG assistance in the Star Wars galaxy, the city planet Coruscant. She said it was a challenge, but we wanted to utilize practical sets for Coruscant, and that meditation room that you see, we wanted to do it justice, but also have it feel real and tactile. We've used practical sets much more than the other shows, and part of that came out of necessity, and part of it was a creative choice. All right, so you and I haven't really talked much outside of texting about the show, or the trailer, right? I feel like the trailer, there's predictability in the criticism, and then there's also, I think, just criticism in it. And I'm skeptical of the show because I'm skeptical of Lucasfilm and Star Wars right now. Right. And there are certain things that I saw, and I think you and I were talking about it too. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull off just a bunch of kids running around. As some of the kids are evil, some of the kids are good. I don't know yet. I love the comments about the practical effects. Yeah. I love the idea that it takes place 100 years before the Skywalker saga. It's got things in it that if they pulls it off, I liked the tone. I liked the tone of the trailer. but I'm just nervous and sort of like, and I do, and I watched a bit of the Jedi Way, and I will say I got to push back a little bit on some of the stuff that you guys said about I think that it is crucial to pay, because Frank was like, who cares? I think it's crucial to pay attention to storylines that are put together, that is put out there. Like if someone says, and it's not just one character, John, that says like, well, the Sith have been extinct for a long time. This is a thing that the Jedi knew, that the Sith have been, because it was a war that happened in between like what Darth Bane did in the creation of 2, which is canon, that he created the 2 by wiping out all of the Sith, and the Sith have been, and that happened 1,000 years. So to them, the Jedi know this.
Right.
We haven't seen the show yet, so they might very well explain it. But if they don't, they should be. It's the same stuff because Deborah Chow pissed all over canon stuff. Like, I mean, shit, Lucas pissed all over canon stuff and prequel stuff. So I think it's important to pay attention to it. The who cares mentality of it, I don't think is something you can ask fans to do. It's not fair.
Yeah, maybe somewhere in the middle is the better approach, because the normal Star Wars, I don't want to say normal, how can I say it? The mainstream casual Star Wars fan doesn't give 2 shits about canon. They want to go and see the film and have a good time and enjoy themselves. They're not going, wait, but they said, and they're not studying the films the way hardcore Star Wars fans do. And look, all credit to hardcore Star Wars fans who do, and certainly, and you know, the Schmodown was full of many of those who do, and Kevin was one of those. Kevin Smets on the Jedi Way, and Frank was our guest. But yeah, I think you've got to find the middle ground, which is people can bring up these criticisms and these issues. I'm hoping that they knew people were going to bring up these criticisms and these issues, and as you said, they're going to address them in the show. I also think a character's headcanon is not the franchise's canon.
You said that though, but that's not one character.
I want to right, but even if it's multiple characters, it's still the character's headcanon.
No, that's history though. That's history, dude. It's
but
like
they were
seeing the
supposed to
Romans.
not know the Sith, right? The Sith have been working in the shadows, so the Jedi would believe that there hasn't been any Sith.
Right. Well, that for sure. But that's not the argument. The argument is if this guy running around with that red lightsaber, whoever it is, and there's all these Jedi fighting them. Yeah. The argument is not that. The argument is then if that was the case, they all have to die, and then no one logs it into any computers, because otherwise, by the time we got to the prequels, they're going to know because of what happened there. Right. That's the argument. Not that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're right, and the same thing is going to apply to the Saj Ventress thing, right? Bringing her back on Bad Batch this season, they've got to address how that's possible, and so you can take these chances. But I do agree with you. Take the chances. You can slightly ignore canon initially, but you've got to address it. So maybe because they, I'm hoping that they knew fans were going to kind of be upset about it, and they've got a plan for it. Because the Saj Ventress thing, they came out and said, we knew the fans were going to be upset about this. We have a plan. Don't worry about it. Right. And so I'm hoping the same thing's going to happen in this situation. And Leslie doesn't strike me as someone who's not supremely intelligent about this kind of stuff. So I hope
she's a fan, and so she assume that she would know that particular thing. So I don't want to judge it yet because I haven't seen the show. I'm just saying it should be a concern, because
Filoni didn't bring it up, don't you think? I mean, Filoni must have been involved at creative level.
I would hope so, but then you look at the stuff that happened in Obi-Wan, and it's like maybe not. You know,
fair point, dude.
Like the Leia stuff is ridiculous. When you go back and you look at it, like Leia should have been nowhere near Obi-Wan Kenobi. Nowhere near Obi-Wan Kenobi. All that stuff was just like, there's so much of it that made no sense, and that was just kind of retcon or just really towed the line of it. And then the idea that, you know, Reva knew who Anakin Skywalker was, how? Like all that stuff you can go on and over again. So it's that kind of stuff you got to pay attention. You got to hold this stuff solid. You got to hold it as if it's actual real history. If you want, like, it's the same way. And you brought up Schmodown before. When we started doing a trivia contest, right? And we started doing these things, it's like people, and you and I used to get so like pissed about this when people were like, oh, it's just movie trivia. And you're like, why are you guys taking it so seriously? Because if you don't take it seriously, the audience won't. And then when you started taking it seriously and I started taking it seriously, the audience started taking it seriously because it meant something to them, and they meant that it meant something to you. And it's the same thing when it comes to like little details in a story. It's like,
that's fair.
You know what I mean? It's like you look at it and you go, well, wait a minute. That history, look at Dune. It takes the myth, it takes the history, it takes all that stuff serious. And like it actually happened. And I believe it happened then. I believe that's actual history. If it's like, oh, no, that's for this story, pretend it didn't happen. Like Frank said, he's like, who cares? It's like, I care. You want me, if you don't want me to care, what the fuck am I paying for this thing for? So anyway, all right, that's the majority of the stuff that we covered here today. And now we're going to take all your questions because we have a ton of them. So you can still ask more. We have some more time. But before I do, we got a brand new sponsor that I'm super pumped to tell you guys about here today. And then an old familiar. I'm going to tell you first of all about Magic Spoon, because you guys know, and I got that yesterday. I'm so excited for somebody to reach out to me yesterday and told me how much they're loving Magic Spoon. And like, I'm so glad that you told me about Magic Spoon, because I absolutely love it. And I'm so glad that you do, because last night I got the new, they have like honeygram ones now, which is great, because I had a New Year's resolution to cut back on sugar, add more protein. I did it. And people love cereal. You get older, it's harder to do that just because there's so much sugar and kind of empty carbs. Well, Magic Spoon has everything. It's got the flavor that you love. It's got high protein, less sugar. They have cocoa. They have fruity, frosted peanut butter. I told you, I just had this new graham cracker thing that I love. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, only 140 calories a serving. So good. High protein, and 0 sugar. It's amazing. If you go to magicspoon.com/big-thing and you grab a variety pack and you try it today, but you got to use our promo code, use big thing at checkout, and you save $5 off your order. It's so amazing. They're so confident in it, by the way, and they should be. It's backed with 100% happiness guarantee. If you don't like it for any reason, they refund your money, no questions asked. So start your new protein diet today here with this stuff. It's a delicious bowl of high protein cereal. You go to magicspoon.com/big-thing. Use that code big thing. Okay. The other thing I wanted to tell you guys that I'm super pumped about. So I've told you guys I'm moving. I'm leaving, going to New York. I'm excited about it. And we need new things for the house. Well, Miracle Made. So I'm not sure if you know, but if you were familiar with it, maybe you didn't know this. Your temperature at night, it can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality. If you wake up too hot, too cold, I recommend that you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. They're inspired by NASA. Yeah. Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night. It's so good. It's self-cooling properties for better quality sleep. It's the future, guys. Silver-infused fabric, inspired by NASA. So good. Self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. It's designed for your skin. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. You got to go to miracle.com/big-thing. Go to miracle.com/big-thing. So you go try miracle.com/big-thing and you try one of those sheets today, whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one. If you order them today, you can save over 40%. And if you use that code big thing at checkout, you're going to get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is also super confident in their product. It's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not 100% satisfied, you're going to get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/big-thing and use that code big-thing to claim your 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Go to trymiracle.com/big-thing. Treat yourself. And thank you to Miracle Made for sponsoring this episode. Yeah, John, you got to check it out, man. So those came, and I was like, because we need them. We needed those, and they're so smooth. And like the fact that it's like, that's the future with bed sheets. NASA.
Yeah, NASA.
Yeah, crazy. So anyway, so I'm glad to have them, and I always pin the comments. The sponsors are in there, but for what I want to do, John, also before we get started here too, because I think that we're going to get all these questions. Why don't you tell people about your channel and everything that you're doing now instead of at the end? Because I don't want people to tune out after we sign off. I want them to hear about what you're doing.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Yeah, the Outlaw Nation. It's been going on for 3.5 years. Love for you all to head on over there. It's youtube.com/John Rocha Says. A lot of stuff going on. You guys know I create fantastic shows that people really enjoy when they come and watch it on the channel. We've got the Hot Mic with me and Jeff Snyder breaking down entertainment news once a week there on the channel. A lot of fun. 1.5 to 2 hour shows talking about everything and breaking some scoops every once in a while, which is a lot of fun. Jedi Way, as Kristian just mentioned, we just dropped our most recent episode. Me and Kevin Smets welcoming Frankie Janish, who was sitting in for the great Laura Kelly, talking about the Acolyte, talking about the Patty Jenkins news, reviewing the latest Bad Batch episode, and if there's an Asajj Ventress a series in the works, according to Nick Futterman. So a lot of stuff we covered there. The Geek Buddies, which is something I do with my buddies who I've been friends with for over 20 years, that Kristian knows, Michael Vogel and Shannon McClung, breaking down all kinds of stuff going on in the world of entertainment and from an insider perspective, because Michael Vogel is an executive producer and showrunner of numerous animated series. Shannon is a writer and actor. And of course, I'm a critic and a pundit here in the world of Spear. So I think you get a unique take on the world of entertainment. It's a lot of fun from the three of us that we do in the Geek Buddies, plus my trailer reactions, my reviews, and sometimes occasionally like The Nation, which I did an episode of on Friday, breaking down that Quiet on the Set documentary, detailing the sexual abuse allegations and the toxicity that Dan Schneider lorded over during his time at Nickelodeon, that I thought was a lot of fun to open up the door to hear from so many people talking about it and hear their points of view. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on the channel. Would love to have you come aboard, not to mention the Cinephiles, which is my podcast that I do every week with Steve Morris, that I think you all would enjoy as well. So there you go.
Go and check it out, everybody. It's John's working hard over there, so go and support him. Okay, let's get to first question. Michael Sinister McCall, name an evil villain that pisses you off and why. I'm gonna go wrestling, and I'm gonna say Oscar right now is pissing me off. Stupid dance. I hate that stupid dance. All she does is dance, and I think she's supposed to be pissing you off, and it's like, stop dancing. And it's like, but I realize what she's doing, and I'm like, she's doing exactly what she should be doing. She's pissing me off, and it's like, it's good villain heat, but she's really getting under my skin. I used to love Oscar, but she's pissing me off. So I'm going to a wrestling villain there too. Speaking of wrestling, by the way, I'm doing a WrestleMania preview special. It'll be a full Big Thing episode.
Wow.
And I'm going to be doing it with Chris Van Vliet.
Nice.
And then Kathy Kelly's going to come on the show.
Cool.
And she's coming on to talk about, because she got the Slammies going again.
Nice.
So she's gonna. So I'm gonna have her on. She'll probably be because Mania is coming up. She's gonna be virtual, but then when she's back in LA, she's gonna come in the studio at post Mania. But we're gonna get her on before that, so people know. Yeah. So an evil villain that pisses you off, and what?
I would say The Rock right now.
Turncoat. Your turncoat.
That being said, I went to 3 Target stores this weekend to buy his skincare product line because I want to try it out. I think it's called Papa Pooey or whatever it's called. Papa Pooey. No, Papa Pooey. And I'm going to I got all the skin lines. So I'm going to take a picture of myself with the stuff to put up on Instagram later and tag him. But I want to try it out. That being said, he is pissing me off on so many levels as a villain right now, because he has absolutely eclipsed Cody and Roman's story to make it all about him. And I find that to be a fascinating thing. And only The Rock can get away with that nonsense. Incredible, man. And he brought back the Hollywood Rock theory.
He did. Mike Joyce, not sure what was worse, the villain in Madam Web or Conor McGregor in Roadhouse. Both had terrible performances, were bad villains. I think that Rocha was right. I think Conor at least knew the assignment. I don't know what the villain was so forgettable in that movie and so lame. Like, Conor was not forgettable in that movie. He's I don't know why he's walking around with his ass hanging out for 5 minutes in the movie, but the most of all, I mean, and the fight scenes are pretty good. He far eclipses that villain in Madam Web, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, it's like it was
more natural, bro.
It was more natural. Yeah, he was essentially just being himself.
Yes.
Pete Parker, 2288. Did you see Roadhouse? Yes. I thought it was really bad, and not in a good way. That CGI, there was some bad CGI in it. Oof. The last fight was like a bad video game. Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal too, the last fight. But like I said, I think that's why I think it was a perfect streaming movie, because it's like one of those movies that, to me, is one of the definitions of a streaming movie is after you watch it and you go, well, at least we watched it on streaming. Like if I went and paid for it in the theater, I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, some of the fights were good and Gyllenhaal's good, but did we have to spend $30 on that movie?
But how about Prime Video not letting you have an ad-free version of Prime Video anymore?
Right.
It's so frustrating. Like I got HBO Max over the weekend again because they dropped the price down to $140 for the ad-free from $200. So I was like, you know what? That makes sense. Like $10 a month. Okay, I'll do it. But the Prime, I mean, I'm paying the same amount and I don't get ad-free, which is so frustrating. And so that should be an option.
Yeah, their argument is the other stuff you get through Prime, but still, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike Joyce. So many kids when I saw Afterlife, Frozen Empire. It's been a while since I've seen the first two, but has Ghostbusters always been a kids franchise? I mean, I think so. I think that it, yeah, for sure. I mean, when I saw the originals, I was a kid and I loved it. Yeah, I think it's both though. I think that's why it's two things. One, I think that's why it had such appeal, is because it appealed to both adults and kids. And I also think that's why so many people hold it so close to the vest, because it just became such a thing when they were kids, as they were adults, these other things. I mean, because the first movie has a lot of adult humor to it, like the type of adult humor that when you're a kid, it goes right over your head. And then when you see it when you're older, you're like, oh, so yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty much meant for kids. And they're definitely aiming more towards kids for sure.
I mean, Dan Aykroyd gets a blowjob from a ghost in the first movie, so it's very much it has an adult aspect. But yeah, it's a kids franchise because they wouldn't have made an animated series if it wasn't a kids franchise. They wouldn't have sold so many kids related stuff if it wasn't a kids franchise. So yeah.
Okay, next one. Hayden Center. Kristian, huge fan. Thanks, man. I hit 235 subs on my movie review channel, and you're one of the few people that inspired me to do it. I hope I can meet you one day. Well, thank you, Hayden, and congratulations on your channel. That's an accomplishment, man. Anytime, like, shit, 5 subscribers is an accomplishment. You know what I mean? It's like, so you keep pushing, and 200 that's a big deal. It's 200. That's a full room of people. Like when we do, let's just put it in perspective. When we do live comedy shows, we are crossing our fingers that 120 people will be in there. You got 235 people that are watching your show. That's awesome. Good for you.
Late to the Party and Galaxy Geeks, both at 235 at one point, most recently, and then boom, they blew up. They're over 100,000.
So Galaxy is like 600,000.
Yeah, if you just keep going, you never know.
Yeah. All right. Murderf, why did you take down your Tales from the Jedi commentaries? I didn't. I don't think I did. They were great, especially episode 4, the Sith Lord. Do you question my authority? Always. Oh no, you know what it was? I know what it was. I think the Tales from the Jedi, I think I did on the other channel, and I took all that stuff, and it's just a Schmodown channel now. So I don't, although the old Schmoes reviews are on it, but I didn't, because we weren't performing over here. So that's probably why. But I might go through, I'm going to go through that whole channel and just make things public on it. There's going to be a lot of the old Schmoes reviews that are going to be public on that one. But yeah, it's mostly a Schmodown channel. So that's probably why. But I do want to, that's because the new Tales from the Jedi is supposed to come out soon.
Yeah. Sure. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, let's see. So the next one, Bill Gaffey just kindly puts in $1. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. Let's see. Next one. Is that actually? I don't even know. Let's see. I don't know. Gilliam, I'm going to say this wrong. Gilliam LaBelle.
Yeah.
Yo, can't go to the theaters for a while because of ear surgery. I'm sorry, man. So I'll have plenty of time to catch up on my streaming queue. At least I got to see Dune 2 beforehand. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. Yeah, I hope your ear gets better. That's not fun at all.
I hope your ear gets better.
Oh, stop it.
I'm sorry.
What? Mad Sinister Macau. Always a great show. Plot twist that floored you. I will go. When I was younger, I mean, shit, man. Usual Suspects still.
Oh my God, yes.
God, yes. It was just the way that was done with the coffee cup and everything too. Even recently, someone was like, "What's the one where the character just realizes, oh shit?" And it's like Chaz Palminteri dropping that coffee cup. It's so good.
Yeah.
Kaiser Soze. How about you? You got one?
I don't want to ruin anything.
If it's old, then
I guess Sixth Sense. I guess that was one that sticks in my mind always because I sat there with my mouth wide open, just wide the fuck open. Man. So,
Darth Vader's burnt asshole.
Ew.
Ghostbusters reception feels like another sign that audiences are growing tired of legacy nostalgia IP. The audience, 85%.
Yeah.
So that's not the audience. That's the critics. When it becomes more of the same, they become more vocal about it. It was 6 out of 10 for me. So the audience review would argue against that one in particular, but I don't disagree with you. It's not necessarily legacy nostalgia IP that people are getting tired with. It's lazy writing. It's lazy writing. It's because when you rely on just that, because again, as I said, with Frozen Empire, it's not very well written. It's sloppy at times, but I enjoyed the tone of it. I understand it. 6 out of 10. I get that. I understand that completely. But I think that I don't think that people are getting tired of, because it also made $45 million. It didn't bomb.
Right.
It didn't bomb. Luke the Gamer 1. Hello from the UK. I had fun with Ghostbusters. Haters be damned. House of the Dragon looks amazing. Been a fan for 9 years. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Luke. That's very kind of you, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And yeah, great. House of the Dragon looks fantastic.
I also saw Luke asking about The Covenant. Luke, The Covenant is a film directed by Guy Ritchie, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's dealing with the pullout there in Afghanistan. So go and take a look at that one when you get a chance.
Yeah, it's funny, when it started, I wasn't sure what year it was in place. It takes place in like 2018.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
True story.
Yeah. It was a true story.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a true story. I thought that was based off of like a couple of different. I didn't realize that was an actual
based on true stories is what I was trying to say. Sorry.
Based like certain event, not the actual story itself.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Jacob Zazano, when are you going to be watching Invincible? I know you got a lot going on, but man, you're going to love it. Omni-Man will be one of your favorites. So I've watched at least the first 3 episodes.
And
I loved it. Loved all 3 episodes of the first one. And what's hilarious is that I worked for the company, and and I was in the middle of like a couple different times. It was like, hey, have you watched? I'm like, yeah. And I never did, just because I was so busy with Schmodown and stuff, not because I didn't want to. Well, everything I watched with it, I dug it. It's just, there's so much, but I did. And I probably should talk about this first, because I said I was going to. 3-Body Problem I watched. And I tried to stay away from people's comments and everything too, because then maybe it was the whole season that people weren't like didn't like were rave about. I love the first episode, loved it, and I'm especially with all the shit I talk about on Tuesdays and everything. I'm so interested in quantum physics and quantum. And I don't know. I never in a million years will I even understand a quarter of what the hell anyone's talking about when it comes to quantum physics, but I want to. Yeah. I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by dreams. I'm fascinated by consciousness. I'm fascinated by all this stuff. So the idea of the way that they're kind of giving me almost this kind of lost feel. I think Benedict Wong is amazing. There's so many different people in this show. And it's brutal too, by the way. It's pretty graphic. I like episode 1 a lot. You haven't seen it yet, right?
No. I'm going to start it probably today at some point.
Yeah. And so I saw someone say, how come we haven't done a review for it? Netflix still does this thing that I don't like. They dump the whole show right away.
It's tough.
And people will be talking about this show for like another week or 2. I'll try to finish it in between that time, but it's better when it's week to week, because more people have an interest in it and it's easier to do it. But if I can finish it in time, then I'll probably do a full season review of it for sure. Okay. Kenneth Colton. March has been a huge month at the box office, as 3 films have hit 40+ million. That will change to 4 once Godzilla and Kong comes out. Yeah, I'm going to see that one. See, that's a movie. We've talked about this before. I'm going to see that one on Wednesday.
Nice.
The embargo drops on Thursday. They know that the critics are not going to like this movie. Nope. They know that this movie is not intended for critics. This movie is intended for people that just want to see a big monkey and a big lizard fight other creatures.
That's why they're not screening it in certain cities like San Diego. They're not screening it because they know it's going to be tore apart. So
yeah, but I agree. I think Kenneth's right. I think that it's going to be another one that is a big, and Warner Brothers is starting off throwing bombs. They got Dune with making some cash, and they're already making. Remember, they won the box office last year. Can they do it again this year? Maybe. Yeah, we could do it. But they got a shot.
But I thought HasLab was killing the film industry.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about. What I'm saying.
Well,
the movies are doing good so far. So, Tim Sim still have yet to see Ghostbusters Afterlife and Frozen Empire, but planning to see them soon. Oh, sorry, still yet to see Ghostbusters Afterlife and Frozen Empire, but planning to see them soon after hearing from y'all that they're good. Also, Rocha, we're the famous Man United, and we're going to Wembley.
Yeah, and that's all you're going to get this year. So enjoy that.
And yeah, Tim, I mean, look, some people don't like Afterlife. Some people don't like Frozen Empire, clearly. I just really like the tone of it. I saw both of them with Roxy. Roxy was at the screening, and Roxy actually sat next to us for the Frozen Empire one. And she didn't like Afterlife, and she loved Frozen Empire. So I don't know. It's very, very interesting. Okay, let's see. Next one. Mad Sinister McCall. Give Harloff an Emmy, not Shogun. Love big thing. I still haven't seen well, thank you. But I still haven't seen it, John. That's one I got to see also. I started watching that. You know, it's so stupid, and I talked about this too. And this is a me problem. This has nothing to do with the show, because I'm sure the show is just brilliant.
Yeah.
But I started watching it, and it was like the opening scene, and I go, I don't know. I think I don't know if the show's for me. And it was the first scene. It was so stupid. Because I was tired. It had nothing to do with the show. It is a full admittance that it was me that night, to where I was like, this show's it's probably overrated. And I said, you're being a fucking idiot right now. I'm an idiot. And I'm definitely going to watch it. It has nothing to do with show.
And you're doing what you want, which is a weekly show.
It has nothing to do with the show. Full admittance that it was me being a fucking idiot. But yeah, because after I said that, I'm like, that's again, I did that with Severance. But Severance was Severance was like, it was like, I'm like, how many times are they gonna just show this person walking down the hall? I'm out. And I bailed on it, right? And I did the same thing in Poor Things. I watched the beginning of Poor Things. I'm not gonna watch a fucking movie. And I loved Poor Things. So that's it. Okay. Benny. Speaking about a show I've never watched, I'm rewatching Boardwalk Empire again. And I can't get over how great of an actor Vincent Piazza and Stephen Graham are in it. I wish they were in it more. I feel like you loved that show.
I did. I loved that show. I thought Piazza was good as well. But Stephen Graham, Liverpool actor Stephen Graham, he's the guy who also played the foil in The Irishman, who fought Pacino on the ground and stuff. You know, he's the guy that's messing with Pacino the whole time. So Stephen Graham, fantastic actor, Snatch, so many things. So yeah, I thought he was excellent in Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah,
throughout. And Buscemi was fucking stellar throughout.
I got to see it.
And Charlie Cox is in it. Mr. Daredevil's in it. So you guys got to watch that show if you haven't seen it.
Do you know, by the way, I mentioned The Gentleman, and I don't want to brush over this. I don't necessarily think Charlie Hunnam's the best actor, right?
He is in that film.
He's great in that movie.
Yes. He's not good in a lot of other theatrical films, but he is excellent in that film. And so is Hugh Grant. They're fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Charlie Hunnam is great in that movie. That's his best performance, hands down. And Finstock was great in it too. I mean, that is about as Finstock as you get. Colin Farrell was.
This funny guys is coming after me first. Yeah, he's absolutely.
And when he says to the guy, well, basically something happens in a van, and he goes, "Oh, you're having a rough night." So good. He was so good in that movie. The movie was great.
So good.
Mike Joyce. I'm surprised that Kristian liked the new Ghostbusters. It felt like any tension scare was immediately undercut by a joke. Don't you dislike some newer NCU movies because of that? I'm indifferent to Ghostbusters overall. Difference. Ghostbusters has always had comedy in it with Harold Ramis. Ivan Reitman directed the first one, for God's sakes. And the second one. It was a comedy master. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd. It was always a comedy. It was always a horror comedy. It was always based on that. There is sometimes that it didn't come out of nowhere. It was consistent. It was not like, okay, here's this one thing, and now we're in this middle of this dramatic thing, and now there's a joke because we need a joke right now. It's like, no, that's the characters. It seemed fresh with the characters. I do feel like there's and I always pronounce it wrong. But Camille Nanjiani, I feel like he is wandering into a place of playing the same character in every movie.
Okay.
I feel like he plays the same character in every film that he's in. I think he's talented. I just think that he plays the same character over and over and over again, where he's just like kind of like the bump, like, oh no, not me. It's not, I didn't do it. And it's like, but I've seen you do it so many different times. But his jokes though, that they put like towards the end of it, I thought did work. And I thought his character, even though he's playing the same character, I thought it fit well. And I thought he was good in it. I just thought that I just want to see him do other things because I know that he can do it. Like Big Sick, you know.
Big Sick was great.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's keep going. So there's a lot of Roadhouse comments in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this one, Pete Parker, Gyllenhaal becomes his character from Nightcrawler halfway through the movie. Yeah, we said that for sure. He absolutely becomes it. It's like I mean, it was different. It was different.
Yeah. Matt,
been a fan for 10 years. Man, getting old. I'm thinking of getting into the movie industry on the business side, and would love any tips if moving to LA is worth it. Hard to ask me because I'm moving out of LA now. So, but no, I mean it is. I mean, it's like the business has changed overall too, where you can do so much from anywhere. But this is the center of being in entertainment. It really is. So if you want to get into that, and I would always recommend people living here, if you want to be on the entertainment side, to at least for a little bit, to learn it, to understand it. So if you can, you have the means to do it, then absolutely. Would you agree, John?
Yeah, I would. And come with a nest egg, man. Don't come poor. Don't come working job to job, because the city will eat you up possibly. Now, you might get lucky and survive and find a job and whatever, but you got to come with a nest egg, because trust me, there are a lot of unknown expenses that will pop up that'll affect you. And especially if you want to get into the business, there's going to be a lot that you're going to have to figure out for yourself financially. So, and the business is constricting. So that's another element. Just understand, come with realistic expectations, and you'll be able to survive and put your pride away as well. That's what I would say.
Hank Pym, what are the top 3 WrestleMania matches you guys are looking forward to? Also, keep up the good work, guys. Loving Monday shows. I don't know the full card off the top of my head, so John knows it better than me, but I would say obviously Cody and Roman.
Yes,
for sure. Does it count that also the team match that leads into that match?
Yeah, the night one.
I guess that counts, those two. And then the third one, I'm trying to think of the one, because I really like Sami Zayn. I don't want to see him in the reign
against Gunther.
Yeah, and I feel like he might, and I don't want that to happen, because I'd like to see it continue on, and maybe this Seth Rollins and Drew match. I don't know. So I'd have to look into a little bit more though too. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to skip the tag match because I'm looking forward to Reigns versus Cody. That's if I'm going to pick one of the two, I'll go there. I'm also looking forward to Rhea versus Becky, because I want to see where that goes, and I want to see how Becky can hang with a beast like Rhea.
Rhea's going to beat her.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but I want to see how that goes. And the Jay versus Jimmy thing. Come on, man! I got to see the Usos go at it. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
I texted you this though too.
Yeah, I know you did.
And it's like Jimmy has really, or Jay has really stepped up and become like Jimmy is an over actor, dude. Such an over actor.
Like, they haven't pushed him solo, bro.
Oh, he's such an over actor. It's like every time, it's like, tone it down. It's like it doesn't look real. Like it doesn't look real, and it's like you got to sell. As much as you sell him the bumps, you got to sell the performance so every single time he does the snarling. I'm like, you look like you're acting bad. I don't feel like you're mad at your brother. I don't feel like you're mad at anybody else.
Yeah.
It's not working. But Jay, to me, is crushing it. Crushing it.
I think the Logan, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens match is going to steal the show. I think that match is going to tear down the house. The three of them, and
Kevin Owens is probably going to wind up winning, right? Or Randy Orton? You think Orton? You think?
No, I don't think they'll put. Orton's about putting people over now. He's he's at that age now where he puts.
Yeah. All right.
So I think Kevin wins. Yeah.
I would love to see Logan Paul keep it. I would love to see him keep it.
Maybe.
I'd love to see him keep it. I like him. Like give him a run with that. There's no legitimacy on that U.S. title belt.
That's true.
Put some legitimacy on and look what they redid with the IC belt. Screwface John, and having a lot of holes. What's up, man? And having a lot of holes and issues is probably why people don't like it. Some Roadhouse. I think the fun thing isn't enough for people who spent their money. Is that what you're saying? Oh, Ghostbusters. Okay. So it having a lot of holes and issues is probably why people don't like it. I think that it was fun thing isn't enough for people who spent their money on it. Both of you guys had issues that I can see other people not accepting, which is fair. But again, Screwface, the actual audience score, if you look at it, audiences seem to be enjoying it. Money-wise, seems to done pretty well with audiences also. So, and even people who say that was fine, 7 out of 10, I think that a lot of people that went to see it are like, it wasn't great, but it was fine, and you didn't feel like you got screwed out of your money, no pun intended. So I don't know, but you make a lot of good points.
Yeah.
Isabel, good evening. I am posting this on the behalf of my dad, Carlton Rudder, who is in Italy. Nice. That's amazing. No question this week, guys. Didn't want my vacation to stop me sending you 2 legends support. That's right. We'll tell you, Dad. Thank you. I hope he's having an incredible Italy. Holy moly. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. That's very kind of you to do that. And especially the fact that you're doing it from Italy through your daughter, of course.
I want a picture of you on the Leaning Tower, Carlton. So post that, for God's sakes.
Please do. That was very, very kind of you, Carlton. Carlton's always showing his support here. So that was awesome. Alex Elkins, the critics, fans hating on it because of the 2016 film. I mean, maybe I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. Okay, next one. Al Rensha, can't wait for Godzilla and Kong. Seeing it twice. Scar King and Shimu will be a problem, but Kongs and Godzilla will team up with Mothra at the end. Sure. I mean, but that's if people, that's I love that people are excited for that side of it. It's like what I think everyone, this is the difference with this movie, though. If anybody comes out of this movie for this, we're so far into it. I'm talking critics, comes out of it and goes, well, I could have really enjoyed it, but I just didn't give a shit about the humans. Let me stop you right now. You're not going to care about any of the humans. All of the humans. I'm going to give you the beginning. I'll give you this part of the review of my out of the theater on a movie I haven't even seen already. Well, I didn't care about any of the humans. I didn't care about any of them. I couldn't tell you anything about them. I just saw the movie 2 hours ago, and I don't remember anything about them. But Kong wears a glove and punches some things in the face, and Godzilla gets, and he also gets on Godzilla's back and rides him. So that's why you go to the movie. That's it. That's why you go to this movie.
Clear? Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, let's keep going. So yeah, I'm excited to see what people are gonna feel about that movie. Rank these historical. This is from Benny. Rank these historical epics. Benny, hey Benny, screw you. Nothing against you, Benny. That's from Total Recall. It's one of my favorite Arnold lines ever. Benny, rank these historical epic films: Gladiator, Troy, Kingdom of Heaven, the director's cut. I haven't seen the director's cut. And The Last Samurai, Braveheart, Lawrence of Arabia. Okay, for me, Lawrence of Arabia, I saw in school a long time ago. I don't remember it well enough. But so I'm gonna go Braveheart number 1, Gladiator number 2, and this is only because I haven't seen them in so long. I'll put Lawrence of Arabia up there at 3 because it's probably the right thing to say. And then I'll go Last Samurai at 4, Troy at 5, and Kingdom of Heaven because I've just never have seen. I saw bits and pieces of the theatrical.
Yeah.
So, how about you?
Yeah, I'd have to go Lawrence of Arabia first, probably Gladiator second, Braveheart, Last Samurai, 300. Yeah.
Oh, 300. I forgot about 300.
And then Troy, and then Kingdom of Heaven.
Yeah, 300 I would put probably before and maybe after Last Samurai.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Ape Nation. Kristian, been watching since I was a teen in the early schmoes days. Holy moly. I'm almost 30. Holy moly. And recently started my own channel, and that started to do well. Congratulations, man. Just wanted to thank you for so many years of entertainment and inspiration. Well, thank you for the very kind words. Thank you for the very kind donation. That's awesome. And congratulations on the channel, man. I really appreciate that. That's really cool. I don't know if it was cool to tell me how old you were, but other than that. All right, let's see. Next one. This comes in.
Kristian, my mom used to watch you, and now I've started my new channel.
Right. Yeah. I've got now I have 5 grandkids that watch you. Mike Joyce, what if ScarJo plays a spy who infiltrates a Dr. Evil type organization that's creating evil dinos that are being set loose on the world? The problem is that in the way that the series was going, then that might be a very realistic plot.
Yeah.
In the way that like the that the Trevorrow ones were going, that was oof. So yeah, Chris Daniel, Ghostbusters was fun to me, and my boy loved it. I hope that if there's a third one, the 4 are young adults going on their own. Where would you go with it? Well, I guess at that point, I mean, this movie would probably do well enough to warrant a third movie. I think you got to have Paul Rudd in there again, though. Too, I think he adds so much to it. Because there's only so much longer that the original guys are going to be able to do it, at all. So I would definitely. I mean, you're going to look at. Finn Wolfhard's already he'll be in his early 20s, and I think McKenna Grace is at least 16 now, so they'll be close. Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, Finn doesn't come back unless you make the role meatier. He was barely in this one, so I think he doesn't come back unless you do more.
You have to.
Role. I wouldn't be surprised, and so. But yeah, you could go forward with them. I think that's absolutely fine. I think there is one more thing with Carrie Coon they have to kind of solidify because of how her daughter was saying, like, you're not even worthy of being a Ghostbuster. So I think they were laying a little bit of a groundwork for her to come through in the next movie And I think will wrap the parent thing up completely, and you go off with them. If you want to keep going with those 4, I would agree.
Yeah. I got someone who just gave me a fake news comment. I'm hoping it's joking, but it seems like it's real again.
Yeah.
Did Harloff seriously say Bryce Dallas Howard is a better actor than Johansson? He's so biased because he had her on that podcast once. Sad.
Once podcast.
On my podcast. How am I biased? She doesn't know me. She probably didn't even remember who the fuck I am. I'm biased. That's hilarious.
BDH.
Yeah. Levi, it seems that political views have bled into big box office films 100% and franchise films with all the trendy opinions for them. Do you think that we will see a rise in views for foreign and indie films? I don't know. I mean, I think that, there's a reason. There's also foreign and indie films. Well, look at Godzilla, right? I mean, granted, it was Godzilla, so that's helped sell it as well. But I mean, that movie really picked up steam and it was one of the most successful foreign films I think ever, right?
Yes, but it's also a commentary on on American influence on Japanese culture. So, listen, guys, I know I'm on the opposite side of Kristian on this, but there have always been political views in films.
I've never
dawn of film.
No, we're not on the same. We're not on the opposite pages.
I thought you said you agreed. I thought you said you agreed with his first sentence.
He's talking about the discourse with how people in general have made it a political theme, because there's always been political themes in movies.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay.
What he's saying and what I've been saying for a while is you look at something like The Last Jedi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last Jedi, for some reason, stopped being a movie about whether or not you thought it was good or bad, and it was a right versus left thing all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, no, I hate that shit.
That's bled over more with, and he's talking about like if a movie, even if you haven't seen a movie, that your political views will influence you, whether or not you're going to shit on it, whether you're going to. I assume that's what he's saying. There's always been.
If that's what he's saying, I agree. You're right. But if he's saying like it's been more, these political views are going into films, I think that's bullshit. That's always been part of it. And it shows that you really don't understand film, the history of film, if you claim that only now directors and artists and studios are putting political messages into the movies. They've been doing this since the 1920s. Do research. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm not sure which way. Because there's always been political, but on the same side of that though too, there has been more on both sides, more agenda pushed in film. I couldn't agree with you more that there's always been political themes in movies, always. Yeah. But there has been a little bit more. Sometimes people put things in there to appease people so they don't get in trouble and that they don't get, yelled at.
That's fair.
Yeah. And so it does seem to be happening a little bit more, but it also doesn't. But I also think it's also an excuse for people sometimes to go, see, there it is again, when sometimes it isn't, because it's like the X-Men. The X-Men 97 to me.
Oh my God.
All that.
Yeah.
And still pushback. The X-Men have always been political. The X-Men has always been dealt with these things of not belonging and being different, and the themes of like all these things that have been there. And people are all now see that's they're just pushing the agenda now, and it's like it doesn't work for this one, guys, because X-Men's always been that way. But then there's other times when it feels like they're doing that just because they don't want to get yelled at Twitter. You can feel it, like it's like it's forced.
I can't speak on that until we go specific ones, but I think I do sense that at times with certain things. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't disagree with that.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Benny, screw you, Benny. Screw you. All right, Benny. Kristian, I went back to recently rewatch your old movie talk episodes with Schnepp, Ellis, and yourself and Kill. Those are the best. Yeah, I had a blast with those guys, man. There were a lot of. I missed the big man for sure. Because I think that was one of the things. The reason why Schnepp and I got along as well as we did, and Ellis obviously is one of my best friends in the world, is that we're one of the few back then. No offense to anybody, present company included, that didn't take movie news like we were reporting on CNN or Fox or whatever the hell. We didn't treat it like it was the most important news in the world. It was like it was movie news. and we'd fuck around and we would tell jokes and we'd crack jokes in the middle of it. And if it happened to go off a little bit too, and it didn't, like, this is the most serious stuff we're reporting on. It's like, no, it's not. It really isn't. And Schnepp and I would talk about that all the time. It's like, we were passionate about it. We had fun talking about it, but we would fuck around. And I think that's, to me, was the most fun, because sometimes you would just, it's like, guys, we're not trying to win a fucking Pulitzer here. We're talking about superhero movies, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And that wasn't just there. That was everywhere. And I still see it even now. That's my point with the political stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what are you yelling about? It's like, if someone, and that's the whole point. I couldn't believe that somebody wrote that today after this whole conversation we had about, no. If you like it, you like it. Just don't tell other people. And they're like, oh, you get mad when no one likes your opinion. What the fuck are you talking about? It's the whole point. It's movies. Whatever you want. If you love something, you love it. I can disagree with you and tell you, okay, well, I didn't feel that way about the movie. I thought it stinks, or I thought it was great. But you're not wrong for it. You and I break each other's balls about that shit all the time. There's tons of movies that you're 100% wrong about. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. What's next? This is Future Millionaire. Good for you. I like that. I like the moxie.
Yeah.
No question, but keep up the good work, guys. Thanks, man. My new favorite Monday show is watching you guys live. Thank you. Yeah, people have been digging this show, man. I'm glad that we would do it. We've been doing it for a couple months now, John. I think we started the end of last year.
Yeah.
I believe so. So that's it's been going on for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely end of last year, because we went through the holidays. I remember that.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Yes, we did. I am Two Fly Cam. Awa. A lot of people immediately screamed woke from the Acolyte trailer. How can people call it woke just because there's women? So ridiculous. Wookiee Jedi. Well, the problem is now that's going back to what we just said. Yeah. There are times, and I'm not saying this for Acolyte, as John and I were just talking about. There are times that things are forced. There are times that people are just trying to do things because they don't want to get yelled at or they don't want to get in trouble. But the problem is that every single time you have a woman or you have a person of color, you have someone in there and you say, well, it's woke. It's like, no one's going to take you serious anymore because you say it all the damn time, no matter what it is. And I'm also acknowledging, though, that the studios definitely sometimes just go, well, we need to, like, and I've talked about this, like, I don't know if this Kevin Feige thing is true or not. And I lead with it by saying that it's very well, it just could be a rumor or just something that Jeff had heard, and whether or not it's true or not. But the idea that if Kevin Feige walked into that room for Fantastic Four and said, the cast is too white, we have to cast somebody else for Reed, that is the wrong way to do it. That is the wrong way to do it. It is a terrible, terrible way to do it. Now, the flip side of that is if he walked in and said, you know what I didn't think about yet? Pedro Pascal, we got him underneath we have him underneath the banner. He's interested. We can get him free of Mandalorian. We can get him to it. He might be a great Reed Richards. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
So there's a difference of those two things, of like, what's your choice and why are you doing it?
Right. I mean, I do think, Tessa Thompson said it a few years ago that Feige made a very clear decision that he wanted to be more inclusive and felt that the initial Marvel movies were too white in terms of the amount of cast members that were white. So they wanted to be more inclusive and present these storylines and open the door to these storylines. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I don't believe he walked into a room and was like, the cast is too white, get me a person of color. Like, I agree with you. I think that's tokenism, and that's not what people who speak about representation, that includes me, want. We want representation with the equality of good writing and good storytelling and good character development for that kind of thing. That's why it frustrated me in Multiverse of Madness when you've got America coming in and they did almost nothing to establish her, and it was a wasted character that shouldn't have been a part of it. And that's not the kind of representation that I think we want now. In the past, it has been about let us into the films. Great. Right. Now it's like, now you got to write character, because people are turning on these situations if you don't flesh out these characters and give them good development. And then it becomes a feeling like, oh, they're just doing it to satisfy a certain amount of people. Right. And that hurts both sides, honestly.
Luke the Gamer, in Star Wars canon, what has been said about Sith history? The one that I think of is when Yoda was in, I think it was the second to final, I think it was the penultimate season of Clone Wars. and he wanders into Moraband, and he says, and he sees the ghost of Darth Bane, and he said Darth Bane is the reason that the Sith, the rule of two, and basically wiping out the Sith and doing all that. So he was the one that kind of put him into hiding. So that was the first acknowledgement of it that came from like, I mean, the Drew Carpathian novel and all this other stuff. It came from the comics back in the Dark Horse comics. So I don't know what that's the canon one. I don't know what else in the other books. I stopped reading a lot of the books, so I don't know what else has been mentioned throughout it. Okay. Chris Jones saw Argyle. Woof. Yep. Yeah. Vaughn is wasting his broader talents with his silliness in the comedy genre. Agreed. He needs to branch out and do something different. Here.
Yeah. I watched Layer Cake last night, like until 1 a.m. because it was on Pluto TV. I just had to have it on. And I was like, where's this Matthew Vaughn? I want this Matthew Vaughn to come back.
Yep.
Where is this guy?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Cowboys fan 92. Hi, Rocha. On your content, what Patreon tier would you recommend for someone who does not have that much money? And I noticed some things are changing.
Yeah, I have a $5 tier where we hang out once a month, or once a week rather, on Discord for like an hour and a half talking about things that are going on in the world of politics. Oh, I'm sorry, in the world of entertainment. Jesus Christ. In the world of entertainment, you got me thinking politics with the previous question. And that's what we hang out. It's a great crew. And that's a good one to join at. And you get some nice perks with that as well. So yeah.
Okay, check it out. Wicked Art, the great Wicked Art. Why can't I ever find certain movies on streaming services, especially when they own the rights to them? For example, Alien, Covenant, and the first Transformers isn't streaming anywhere for the past 3 years. It's weird how that works, isn't it? Like there's certain deals that they have, and you probably have to buy them on like even like my daughter wanted to watch Moulin Rouge the other day, and so she we had to rent it on Amazon.
Yeah.
So it's like it's weird how that happens. Like there's certain like licensing deals, and I think that's how the studio is going to make more money now from just having them off of, instead of it being exclusive on their own platforms. Licensing it out is how they're going to make more money on it. I
also would encourage people like who are in this position to download these apps, Tubi, and there's another app that you can get, and they have surprising deals with these movies, so you can watch them. You just have to sit through the ads every 20 to 30 minutes. So if you're willing to do that, you can watch it for free. So it isn't just on the streaming services. There are certain apps that have deals for these movies, and you can watch them on there. So I'd recommend downloading them if you have like Apple TV or Roku.
Yeah. Lucas Hood, Kristian, why the move back to New York? Isn't it mad expensive there like LA? Do you have comedy store stories with Annie Lederman or Esther P? I don't have any. Annie Lederman and Esther P after me, but as far as New York, definitely we're in the city, sure, but I'm not moving to Manhattan. Just to give you example why gas here right now, $5.60 for regular, right? Where I want to go, $3.25. Groceries significantly cheaper, rent significantly cheaper. Where I want to go in New York, significantly cheaper. So you hear New York and you think you think Manhattan, you think it's super expensive. It is so expensive in Los Angeles right now. It's ridiculous. I want to be able to eventually get a house for my family. Can't do that out here. It's ridiculous. Yeah. The housing market is garbage here. LA's turning into a shit pool, to be honest with you too. It's a real piss pot.
That's why I got out 3 years ago, man. I saw the trend happening, and I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Dirtier. It kind of sucks, to be honest with you.
I know, it's heartbreaking. Sucks. Every time I drive into the city, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Bobby Jackson. Hey guys, I got to say there's so much good stuff out, but I love Shogun, and everything else I'll miss it when it's over. Yeah, I'm going to say it every time. I gotta watch.
Can I say, guys, if you are watching Shogun, please watch our reviews on the Outlaw Nation channel. Steve Morris and I. Steve's a big James Clavell guy. He knows the novel, so he tells you what the difference is between the novel and the show when you're watching our reviews. So I would highly recommend it for you all. So.
Amarta, have you guys seen a movie Monster Calls? Thoughts? Which one is that?
That's the one with Liam Neeson playing the monster.
The tree? Is that the J.A. Bayona one? Yeah, I did see it. I remember liking it. I remember people really hyped it up when it came out, and I thought it was good, not great.
I agree with that.
But I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it since. I saw it in the theater, and that was the last time I saw it. So yeah. Wicked Art. I mean, the whole reason I subscribe to streaming services is for the full library, but a lot is just missing all the time. Yeah, I think that's going to change now, man. I think because of the streaming kind of decline, and because there was so much competition that they're going to license stuff out to places now because they can't succeed without doing that. So I think that's going to be I think that's unfortunately going to be a thing that happens.
Almost all the Warner Brothers stuff is on Netflix now. So
yeah, it's everywhere. Corey Gallup. Hey guys, just watched Poor Things recently and it was so good. Love it. It felt like a very Wes Anderson style film. Rocha, did you see it? Thoughts?
Yeah, I saw it again last week because it's on Hulu now.
Okay.
And so is Anatomy of a Fall. If you guys have missed that one, that's a great one. But yeah, I watched it again. Kristian, I love this movie. It is becoming possibly my second or third favorite film of 2023.
It's so good.
Mark Ruffalo, dude.
Ruffalo is laugh out loud funny.
Absolutely.
His fucking stupid dance that he does. He's so good in that movie. It's his best performance.
Also, Willem Dafoe is low-key hilarious.
Yeah, they all are. It's a funny movie.
It's like, well, when my father was, burning my testicles and telling me that, and I'm like, what the fuck?
It's a very funny movie. It's a very funny movie.
Beautiful shot too. Beautifully shot.
Yeah. Armada. Have you guys seen The Gentleman Netflix show? It's not bad, but I think that the leads feel a bit one-dimensional character-wise. The older brother's great. I haven't seen it. Have you watched it, John?
I had two friends who've seen it, and they told me it starts out great, and then it becomes a caricature by the end. So it almost wasn't worth it to watch the series. So
makes sense.
I don't think I'll watch it.
Armada follows up with what streaming service do you think Godzilla -1 will come out? I would assume Apple, right?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe it will release physical or digital soon, since Godzilla and Kong's right around the corner. It would make sense. I mean, I'm gonna buy that movie. I'm absolutely gonna buy that movie.
100%. I hope it comes with the black and white version too.
I feel like Apple would buy that. I would assume. That could be it. I'm double checking as we're going through. Oh no, Steve S. Hey guys, love all your shows. Kristian, would you go on the Cinephiles and what film that's at least 10 years old would you pick? Well, it's hard for me, and John and I have talked about this too. It's just because, especially right now with everything I got going on, it's very hard for me to guest on other shows at the moment too. It's just because I run this thing by myself. And plus I got all this other shit coming up in my life that I got to try to handle. It's hard for me to go on other shows. But if I did, I'd probably visit Braveheart. Have you guys done Braveheart?
We did do Braveheart, but there's other stuff I think we can do with, like, we've never done Usual Suspects.
Oh, okay.
I think Usual Suspects with you would be a lot of fun.
It's a good one.
But it's a multi-hour show, and as Kristian said, he is super busy, so it's not one of the ones that can lock him down. But every once in a while, he does pop up on Geek Buddies.
Yeah. Luke Skywalker. Do you think David Dastmalchian will be up for Oscars? No, but it's nothing against David Dastmalchian. Obviously, he's fantastic in the movie. And for those people who didn't know, I just had him on the big thing last Thursday. The full interviews up there. David's one of my favorite people in the world. It was a great conversation. He's fantastic in the movie. I really enjoyed the film overall. I just think for the genre of the movie that it's in and the time when it's coming out, it's going to be hard. I would love to see it. I just don't think it's realistic. Have you seen the movie yet, John?
No, the Devil one?
The Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah, no, I have not seen that one yet. But I do plan on seeing it. And I also think it won't get nominated because, I mean, that's one of those smaller horror films that unfortunately the Academy doesn't pay as much attention to. And I think the AI controversy might kind of, keep people away from it, which is unfortunate. But
yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's great. And he addressed it. He's very honest about it, which I appreciate.
I don't think that AI thing is going to keep anybody away from the theater because, again,
for voting. For voting.
For voting,
yeah,
maybe. Yeah. Okay. Tom Talks Films. Ghostbusters made an awesome comeback after 2016. I mean, you can't argue with that, whether you like it or not. I mean, it was that everybody thought the franchise was toast.
Yeah.
This is true. The movie apparently made like 666, and that's not that's a marketing thing. Philly G just done a $10 super sticker. That's it. We did it. Thank you, Philly G. Guys, I want to thank you for joining us here today. Appreciate it. A nice, long, supersized show. I want to thank John for being here and sticking with us for the show. John, before you get out of here, where can they find you?
Yeah, find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And as I said earlier, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. Would love to get to 50,000 subscribers in this calendar year. We're at 30, almost at 33. So come aboard and enjoy the content we do there on the channel. We'd love to have you. youtube.com/John Rocha Says. And the podcast there, the Cinephiles, the Geek Buddies, and the Hot Mic. They're all that for you all to enjoy. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Good to see you on a Monday. And thanks, Kristian. Take care, brother.
All right. Thank you to John. Thank you, guys. So hit that button, man. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. We got a lot coming on this week, man. As I told you guys, we got the Kong and Godzilla, I guess. I don't think the Out of the Theater will be allowed to come out until Thursday, I believe. I'm going to see it on Wednesday. If there's any other trailers, I'll actually be able to review them this time around or react to them. Anyway, I have the Riley makes his return on UAP Tuesdays tomorrow, so you can check that out. We have the regular crew coming back to do the shows this week, so I'm glad that you guys are with us. As I mentioned, if you can and you want to support the show, please, one of our sponsors, it's linked in the description. It's always the pinned comment. If you're able to and you want to, try them out and tell me about it. DM, leave a comment, do whatever you want to do, and let me know which ones you got and if you liked it. Thanks for joining us here again. Thank you to John Rocha. Thank you to all you guys. We'll appreciate you, and we'll see you very soon.